Hi, everybody. If you missed today's class, this is what we did. So if you look under the link for today, you'll notice a Zoom link, and then you'll notice pen assignment due tomorrow. Okay, and there's two things that you're going to need to do. First, you're going to need to pull up the link, so double click on that, and you should get a link of the beautiful table of periodic table of elements. Hello. Okay, and you'll notice some beautiful things about it. First, you'll notice that every box has a number at the top and the bottom. Okay, and we'll talk about what that means. Also, every box is a different element. So H is hydrogen, and it tells you in the box what it is in small little lettering. But the letters above it, the one or two letters above it, are its symbol. So, like for example, right here, oxygen is O. Whereas most symbols have two, like calcium is Ca, magnesium is Mg. Most of them have two letters, but sometimes there's one. Then you'll also notice in the box that there'll be a little symbol, like there might be a box or what looks like a drop of water or what looks like a cloud. And basically, if you come down here, there's a key. The box means it's a solid at room temperature. The dot means it's a liquid. And the gas or the cloud means it's a gas at room temperature. And then if it's got this radioactive symbol right here, these red marks, that means it's actually radioactive. So it's really dangerous to handle. And then if there's this little dude there, it means artificially made, which means that a human person made it. So humans made it or discovered it in the lab or created it. It's not something we find normally in nature. So we don't find it in the atmosphere or in the ground or in the side of a mountain or something like, or in our bodies. You would have to make it in a lab. Okay? Then the other thing we want to note is that on this side where it says metals, this left side is pretty much all metals. Down on the right, you can kind of see there's a zigzag bold line like this. I'll show you, whoop, whoop, like this. All the ones to the right of that are non-metals. So if you notice, most of the things on the periodic tables are metals, and most of them are boxes or solids. So most of them are solids and most of them are metals on the periodic table, okay? And then the way we read the periodic table is it starts with hydrogen over here, and it starts with 1, and then helium 2. Then we kind of read it going from left to right, going across. So then lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen. So it goes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it goes down to the next line. So you read it where you'd read a line across and then down, just like you would read it. So that's the periodic table of elements, okay? And we spent a little bit more time talking about it in class, but that's generally the gist of it. The other thing that you want to click on is called PEN review, P-E-N. PEN stands for proton, electron, neutron, okay? And there's a couple things that we did. So basically, by looking at the periodic table and looking at just the box, you can tell how many protons, electrons, or neutrons, what we call PEN, are in each of these elements. So let's look at an example. Here's what oxygen looks like. You can see you've got the symbol for oxygen, O, you've got oxygen, then 8's at the top, 16's at the bottom. So if we look at it on the periodic table, it'd be around 8. So it would be up kind of top, right? So here's oxygen right here. Here's what oxygen looks like. So I just pulled that and brought it over here, okay? So basically, this top number tells us what is called the atomic number. Say that with me, atomic number. Basically, that number tells us the number of protons or electrons. And if you remember from earlier, we have talked about how protons always equals the amount of electrons, okay? So 8, this top number, not only tells me the atomic number, but it tells me the protons and electrons that exist in an atom of oxygen. Pretty cool. All right, then this bottom number is called the mass number. If you remember that video that we watched where that guy was going through a blueberry and he blew it up really big to the size of a stadium, and then if you remember, he said the nucleus would be like a marble, right? And that marble weighed a ton of weight. Well, if you remember, that's where all the mass of the atom is, right? It's in the nucleus. Well, so the mass number is basically saying how much does the nucleus weigh? Well, there's two things in the nucleus, right? There's protons and there's neutrons. So the mass number is protons plus neutrons. So please make sure you fill that out because we fill it out in class, okay? And then this is a little tricky, but basically, if this number means protons and neutrons, and I already know protons, how do I figure out the neutrons? Basically, If 16 represents protons and neutrons, I would just have to get rid of the protons to figure out the neutrons, right? So all I would have to do is 16 minus 8. We'll talk more about what that means. Just make sure you get these notes down. All right, let's do lithium as an example. If you look at lithium, it has a top number, an atomic number of 3. So if I look at it on the periodic table, it's pretty early on. Here it is, right here. Lithium is 3. Okay, and if I look at all these top numbers, like we said, they go in order. So if I know that atomic number is 56, I know I'm going to have to look down on the chart and go all the way here to barium. Okay, smaller number up top, larger number on the bottom. All right. So let's take a look at lithium. The very first thing I have to identify is the atomic number and the the mass number. So the atomic number, if we go up here, if you remember, just means protons or electrons. And it's the top number, right? So for the atomic number is simply the top number on here, 3. Okay? Because though I know that 3, I also know 2 other things. I know the number of protons and electrons. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3 under protons, 3 under electrons. Pretty cool that that top number tells me all 3 of those things. Okay? Then the bottom number is what we call the mass number. So the mass number of lithium is 7. I just take the bottom number. Okay? Here comes the trickiest part, but it's really not that tricky if you listen really carefully. To find the amount of neutrons, all I do then is take this bottom number minus the top, or big minus small. So I don't have to write this every time, but it helps me, so I do. So I take 7 minus 3. Big minus small, or top minus bottom. So 7 minus 3 equals 4. Whoops. Equals 4. So this atom has 4 neutrons. So if I were saying what the pen was, P-E-N, protons there are 3, electrons there are 3, neutrons there are 4. Okay? Let's try carbon. So carbon, if you notice, says 6C carbon 12. So we're going to start with the atomic number. If you remember from here and from above, the atomic number is just the top number. So the atomic number is 6 for carbon. Okay? And then if you remember, if we know the atomic number is 6, we also know protons and electrons. So I'm going to go ahead and put that under protons and electrons. Pretty sweet. Okay? Then I'm going to go to my mass number. My mass number is this bottom number. So I'm going to enter 12. Okay, and my neutrons then, I just simply have to do, let me move this back a little bit, simply have to do bottom number minus top. So I would simply do 12 minus 6, and I'd also get 6. So everything is in 6 for carbon. Everything is, and sometimes they do all match up where they're all the same number. Often they're not, though. Okay, one more example. Let's do neon. So neon, the top number is the atomic number. So that's going to be 10. Because I know the top number, I also know protons and electrons. Okay, and then my mass number is a total of 20. So all I'm going to do to get neutrons is take this big number 20 minus the top number 10. So 20 minus 10 equals 10. So this atom has 10 neutrons, okay? So you're just going to do your best now and use this up here to help you. But what you're going to do for homework is do the rest of these. You're going to rock these all the way down to the next page. Just a couple more practice ones, okay? When you're all done, you're going to click on the send, and that's for homework tonight, okay? And we'll talk more about this tomorrow, but practice as much as you can, and if you have any questions, ask me tomorrow. Okay, guys? All right, have a great day. See you later.